Welcome back. Now that I'm finished with most of the work on my 25 YZ250FX, I need to shift my attention and get my spare wheel set up for this bike. This bike has a larger rear axle, and this rear wheel that I was using as a spare for my 23 won't work on this bike. Initially, I thought I could just change out the bearings and the spacers to make this wheel work, but it turns out it's not going to be quite that simple. I did buy a bearing kit and some spacers, but I discovered this hub has some pretty significant differences from the 25 model hub. This hub is a different diameter here. The diameter of the spokes, where the spokes go through the hub, that whole setup is different. The spokes are different. So I bought a new hub and spoke set to use with this rim. But then I started thinking, well, if I just buy a new rim, I'll have a complete new wheel, and then I can sell this wheel and come out much better. So that's what I did. I bought a new rim. Now I could have bought one of those budget complete wheels for about the same price as I paid for these parts, but I'm not crazy about the quality of the hubs that come with those budget wheels. The rims are pretty good, but I would much prefer to have the OEM hub, which is what this is. So I'm gonna get the bearings installed, get this laced up and trued, and get it ready to go. I got my bearings installed on my new hub, and I'm ready to start lacing this up. The hub has inner spokes and outer spokes. So inner spokes here and here, outer spokes here and here. You're gonna see that if you look inside, this is the inner ring of spokes and then the outer ring of spokes. This wheel has two different sets of spokes. It has inner spokes and outer spokes. The inner spoke is a little bit longer on the hub side. It's got a little bit longer shoulder than the outer spoke, and it's just a little bit longer overall. Before I start lacing these up, I'm going to put some anti-seize on the threads of all the spokes. I'm going to start on one side of the hub and install the inner spokes, followed by the outer spokes. I did a video a couple of years ago on how to lace and true a dirt bike wheel. I included more information and details in that video, and I'll include a link in the video description. This is the sprocket side of the hub, so I'm going to face this lettering this way. This hub has the brand lettering on both sides, but it only has the size information on this side, and that's typical for how these are set up. It'll work either way, but it's customary to have the writing on the sprocket side. Each hole in the rim is angled in a specific direction, and they'll actually tell you where each spoke goes. In this case, this spoke goes here because this hole is angled directly toward that spoke. This hole is angled up and back. And so that's where I'm going to start and go around the rim and loosely attach all of the nipples. By the way, I'm starting with the outer spokes, and then I'll switch to the inner spokes. Now I'm going to start with the inner spokes, and you can see this hole is lining up here. All right, now I'm going to flip it and do the same thing on the other side. All right, I had to take a step back because I discovered that once I get these spokes connected on one side, when I flip it over, I couldn't get the spokes inserted onto the other side of the hub due to interference with the other spokes. And the fact that this has such a long shoulder here, it requires inserting and turning. Anyway, that's unusual. I haven't seen that come up before with other hubs, but what I've done is put some zip ties here on these spokes because I'm going to have to turn this over and insert the spokes on the other side of the hub, and I don't want these turning into spaghetti when I turn it over. So just insert some zip ties, hold that in place so that I can flip this over. Now I'm going to insert the inner spokes followed by the outer spokes on this side. It's the fact that these will only go in, that won't go in that way, so you have to turn them kind of in a weird way, that way, and then flip them back over. And that's not possible with the rim here connected in place, so you learn something every day. All right, now I'm going to put the outer spokes in. All right, since this is the brake disc side, I'm going to put this riding down. Now I'm going to get the outer spokes loosely attached. And so I can start with this hole. Okay, now I'm going to do the inner spokes. Okay, now I can flip it and continue with the other side. Now I'm going to connect the outer spokes first. Okay, that's all the outer ones on this side. Now I can attach the inner spokes on this side. All right, it's got all the spokes laced up. Now I'm just going to start gradually tightening these up until I've got about 4 or 5 threads showing on each spoke. All right, everything's still pretty loose, but that's going to hold my spokes in place, and I'm going to put it on my truing stand. I'm just going to continue to tighten these evenly until things start to snug up a little bit. Everything's still really loose. I've set my pointer on there, and I'm really just looking for any up and down movement at this point that I might need to address before I go any further. That's looking pretty good, so I'm going to continue tightening all those spoke nipples evenly. I'm just turning all these until I've got about 2 threads showing. There's no tension at all on these right now. Now I'm going to shift to a standard spoke tightening pattern where I'm going to start with the one I marked, skip 2, go to this one, skip 2, go to this one, all the way back around. When I get back to here, then I'll go to this one and continue. I'm just turning each spoke about a half turn without really tightening any one spoke. This needs to be done very gradually to keep everything even. I'm all the way around, so then I'm going to skip to this one and go all the way around again. All the spokes have a little tension on them now, so I'm going to start truing. All right, all the spokes have a little tension on them now, and the wheel's looking pretty dang close. So I'm just going to continue the tightening pattern. All right, I got my final tightening done, and I'm pretty happy with that. All right, I got the spare wheel set all ready to go. That new rear wheel's looking really good. I got the sprocket and the brake rotor mounted on there, as well as a new tire with tubeless. Well, I decided the video wouldn't be complete without a test fit on the bike, so got the spare wheels installed on the bike now. That rear one's looking good. That front one looks good from here, but get up close, it looks kind of ratty. It may be time to do something with that one. Thanks for watching.